Welcome back to the shop today, everybody. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've made another video, and I apologize for that. That will change, I hope. I think I said that last year around the same time, so don't put your faith in me, I guess. But I'll do what I can. Anyways, I finally have some upgrades to do to our DIY homemade CNC plasma cutter. I got a machine torch for it, so we're gonna go ahead and install that and see if we can improve this thing just a little bit more. So what we got, or at least what I've been using, has been the IPT60 that comes factory with the PrimeWeld 60, PrimeWeld Cut 60 plasma cutter. It's been doing really well. It doesn't like water, obviously. What piece of electronics doesn't, or does, I should say. And this does have a water table, so splash up in here makes these things go pretty quickly, but I've been able to make do. This is the, forget what it's called, but this is the 105 torch that PrimeWeld sells. Very excited to get this. It seems like they have a hard time keeping this thing in stock, but I was able to get my hands on one, so I'm pretty pumped about that. And I 3D printed a little holder for it with some pressed in bolts and the caps. So I'm hoping that's gonna work. The reason I'm going to this torch is not because the IPT60 doesn't work. It does. I've just been pushing this thing way too hard with that torch, and I'm hoping to get a little bit better cut quality with the 105 torch as well. I've seen a lot of stuff online where guys are actually getting better cuts with this thing. I also have been struggling with keeping the torch squared to the table. I have a lot of this going on, or this, because it's only held on by one spot, and that's around this collar here. So keeping the torch straight has been difficult for me, so a lot of my cuts end up with a bevel on it. Yes, I know plasma cutting will always have a bevel, but I can do better than what I've been getting. I'm pretty sure. So, natural next step is the 105 torch. So we are gonna take this guy off, take some pieces off of here, measure this out and see if we can get that mount on there. And we'll see what happens. Another thing I should add is that I have been pushing this table way harder than what I anticipated this table to do. Building this machine was kind of the fun part for me. I didn't expect to be using it as much as I'm using it now. Good problems to have. So I am actually thinking about building a bigger and better table. That might come a little bit in the future, but it's another reason for the upgrade. It's just getting used too much, but also it's one of the downfalls of using the 105 torch is that now my consumable price goes up. So I gotta be careful with that too. So I'm hoping to get more life out of this guy. I am trying to figure out a way to get an air dryer as well, because I know I'm fighting moisture in my air as well as from the water table. So those are all issues that I'm fighting. And I think that's the same issues that everybody at the plasma table fights. But anywho, I am going to start taking this guy off right here, and we'll start drilling some holes and get this thing mounted. That piece off. This is that front plate here, and this is my mount, and I'm hoping to get away with doing something exactly like that. Now I have to be careful because on the back side I can't have these bolts protrude out the back of this plate basically at all, because if I do that, then they're going to make contact right here and here. So I have to make sure that there's just enough thread there to not bottom out onto these guys. And actually, now that I'm talking out loud, I think I made a mistake, because what I should have done is marked center of this plate and plumb bobbed a string down to mark my center, because I know for a fact that this plate isn't perfect either on that machine. I think this plate is a little bit off kilter. So I might actually make that center mark here and bolt this back up to the machine and do a plumb bob so I can get my straight center. That way I know it's actually parallel to the machine. So I'm gonna do that real quick. So I quickly threw that piece back up there and I used a plumb bob. I used a good old piece of shoestring and an old headlight switch from my Ford Bronco. If you were born back in the day where you had one of these switches in your daily, you knew how to party. That's all I have to say. I drove my truck to high school with this guy in there, and people had no idea what it was. Anywho, so I have my line drawn in the center, and as you can tell, maybe you can't tell, I don't know, but it's not parallel to the side of this plate. So I'm glad I did that. So I'm gonna mark my holes, drill some holes, tap some holes, find some bolts, get this thing on the unit. I got that bolted on. I got to cut these down. I'm not sure what the best way to do that is. I think I might just hacksaw them down and then use a flap disc to kind of smooth them flat. And then I might even take them out and grind them down a little bit more so I know that there's at least some little bit of clearance there. I can dig into the aluminum where these bolts are. I just can't mess up this surface. This is what bolts onto my blocks that slide up and down, and that's kind of important. So I can grind anywhere on this plate and make it thinner anywhere, just not here by these 2 sets of 4, because those are important. So I'm gonna hacksaw these off, flap disc them down, and then she's ready to go back onto the machine. And just like that, we have some nice short little stubby bolts. I did the right thing and did 1 or 2 passes with the hacksaw, and then obviously I switched right to a cutoff wheel right away because that was crazy, stupid to try doing that. So anyways, didn't mess it up too bad. Cut it off, ground them flat. Should be enough clearance for what I need. So we're gonna install this guy back onto the machine and we'll see if we have clearance. Okay, so I got that guy on. I'll show it to you in a second. But you know what? I used one of these for the first time today. This is a drill and tap combo deal. Got a whole little set here. I got this last year for Christmas, and I haven't touched them once. And I don't know if you saw me start tapping with manual, and then I switched to that, especially through aluminum. I don't know why I haven't been using those my whole life, because that was a game changer. But anywho, so I got this guy mounted. Everything's free floating the way it should. So I'm gonna get the torch on there, and I'm gonna get rid of all the torches. As you can see, I have a couple of torches here because this one actually failed on me because I ran her too hot one day. Melted some stuff, or it was water, I don't know. But as you can see, I got a whole 3rd torch there. Had my to-dos with torches. So some of it's my fault. Some of it's being ran hard. And I mean, I had the spares, and I actually had this one ready to go at one point. So when that one went shot, I could throw one in right away and go. During the Christmas season, I was very busy, so it made sense at the time. But now I just have way too many cables running here. So I'm gonna get that all stripped away, and we will get this torch mounted on here and ran, and we'll see if it works. I mean, it should. I don't see why it wouldn't. But anyways, let's see if we can finish her up. So, made a mistake. So I have this machine torch here, and now I can't mount it. This gantry, or this Z-axis, is as high as it can go, and I'm already on the material. So I need this to be like here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna 3D print one of these and see if I can make that change. I'm gonna just take this guy and move it up, and this will just be a mounting bracket. Hopefully it's not too tippy this way, but that's what I'm gonna do for right now. I didn't think of that. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but shoot, that kind of sucks. But anywho, I'm going to adjust this thing, 3D print a different one, and we'll go from there, because that's, I think, the best thing to do to change it. If that doesn't work, I'm going to have to build a different plate or just thinking out loud here, I can just move these bolt holes up and move this whole apparatus up. I'll let you know what I come up with. Okay, so it is the next day. I 3D printed this guy, and all I did was added a little dingle dongle here that moved this all up. So that should give me enough clearance. It's still not as high as I'd like it to be, but I didn't want to make this any taller because at the top here, this gets a little weak because there's nothing backing it anymore. So if this doesn't work, I'm going to take these two bolts out on each side and raise this whole apparatus and go back to this one because I think this one would be stronger. But I'm going to try this first because I want to get this going and give this a whirl. So anyways, I'm going to get the torch mounted now and rerun my cable because I got all my other stuff cleaned up. And yeah, we'll see how it looks after that. So the torch is mounted and it's looking good. It actually looks like a machine now, which is kind of cool. And this is pretty rigid, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm actually shaking the machine when I play with this, so which is a whole nother set of problems that I got to figure out. Like I said, this thing has been ran hard, and this is just after Christmas, so I have in desperate need to tighten everything up. I was having problems with my gears coming loose, or the preload on my gear racks coming loose and stuff, causing some issues. So this thing needs a whole gone through and kind of tighten up, refresh, clean, all that jazz. But who's got time for that? I don't. So I got this torch on here. I did do a test cut already, and I'm glad I did. Something that I actually had to Google and try to see who else is having these issues. You need like 10 times more air, or I shouldn't say 10 times, but you need a lot more air to run this guy. I had my presets of, I think I was running 60 PSI through the regulator in the machine, through that hand torch. And I didn't change any of the air pressures. This thing will not fire. I thought it was consumables. I changed out some stuff. I almost emailed PrimeWeld to say, hey, what the heck? But I'm glad I didn't because they wouldn't have deserved that email. So I upped my pressure to, I think I'm at 85, 90, and I think most people online say minimum of 80. So one concern that gives me is I don't know if my compressor is gonna like that. It already runs pretty consistent. I've kind of outgrown my compressor for the last year already, especially when using a sandblaster. So anyway, those are some things to consider, that you might need some more air flow or storage than I do. But we're gonna give this a whirl and see how long it lasts. Like, I can always go back if there's an issue. But anywho, I'm gonna cut something. It's just a nutcracker ornament that I have done in the past, and that's what I have pre-nested up in the computer anyway. So we'll set this guy off and we'll see what she does here. So, check this out here. So a lot of, of course my compressor went, give me a minute. So compressor's finally off, and that wasn't just from this one use. I've been using it for other things here in the shop, so it's not like that's all it took for my compressor to go out. I do have a better compressor than that. But anywho, pretty good dross on it. And just by the sounds of it cutting, I might need to rethink my feeds and speeds. I'm sure that this torch does things differently. So some of my presets might need to be fixed, and I'll gather that as I go. Trying to see if I can see some edge here. I'm gonna quickly buzz this off with a wire wheel, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so I just buzzed it off real quick, dried it off. I have some shaking going on. Now I know that's not from my mount that we just did. because I was having this problem towards the end of Christmas anyway. I think that's just because, again, all that gear slop in there, it's starting to go. So I need to tighten that whole thing up. But anywho, and I also found one that I cut previously. So we'll see if I can show this to you in a better way here. So this is this is bad. I can cut better than this, but just to show you kind of what I'm dealing with. That's the, where can I show you this? That's the angle that I'm dealing with. I don't know if it's really hard to see, but if you match that with what I'm getting with this torch now, it was drastically better. Maybe I can do a side by side here. If I can get it close enough to focus anyways. So the one on the left is the new one and the one on the right is the old one. So like I've been fighting that taper. It actually almost puts a knife edge on them. So already I think we're doing better. But I know there's room for improvement. But that'll just be dialing it in and playing with it. I'm gonna see if I have some heavier gauge stuff. Maybe I can cut something a little thicker. That might do a little bit better of an idea of kind of how much better off I am. So I will see if I can find something thicker to cut. Maybe some 10 gauge or 1/4 inch. That way you can actually see it. Okay, so I got something loaded up here. I got some 10 gauge here. It's a little bit thicker, so we'll be able to actually see what's going on. And yeah, we'll see what this does, because then maybe we can see what's going on. Hopefully it, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have to play with more of my settings more with this torch. I have a feeling I will be, but anywho, let's see what this does. Okay, so that cut pretty good. I think I could have actually sped that up a little bit, but anywho, so this is the part right off the table. All I did was wire wheel it, so I shouldn't have said off the table, sorry. But I just gave it a quick wire wheel to take the dross off. Dross is about the same as what we saw in the other one. That is straighter than I have cut 10 gauge ever, so I am more than impressed. I think a guy can do a lot more dialing in as it goes. That tip saw a little bit there as it was rounding the corner, but in the inside, it's kind of hard to see, I guess, in the inside, but inside looks fairly straight. Again, right on the inside corners, she went a little weird, but maybe I should slow it down for the corners. All in all, very impressed. Not mad with my decision to buy this torch. It's been on my to-do list for a long time. Yeah, very, very happy with it. Don't like the idea of having to run so much air pressure. I think I could turn it a little bit down, but yeah, I needed 80 to get that torch to fire. But that's okay. And a lot of times more air pressure is better. So I've actually had better quality with higher air pressure. And I guess the other negative is higher consumable prices, because this torch does receive Hypertherm consumables. You can buy knockoff ones, which I plan on doing for the first little while, especially if I'm having to redial in all my speeds. Because if that's the case, then might as well burn through cheap consumables. And as I'm starting to get it figured out, then I'll buy some Hypertherm ones. I am curious to see how long these last. Most people tell me that these consumables last longer. Really hope that's true. I do hope to do some better, drier air setup than I have now. So some consumables going shot on me isn't going to be abnormal, but that's okay. It's part of the job. So, but I'm very happy with it, very excited. And I think once I have the table all tightened up and kind of cleaned up and ready to go for the new year, I think it'll be a lot of fun. One thing I would actually also like to mention is holes. I didn't realize this before, but anybody who owns a plasma cutter knows that holes is not good. I am very pleased with how these cut. I wasn't even really paying attention to that until I kind of checked it. This is a 3/8 hole. The bolt does not go through. I didn't give enough clearance for that, but I am very impressed because I did some, let's see if I have something to show you here. I did some other brackets here. I think this was a throwaway piece, but so this was the front of it. Those are my holes. And that one was a complete failure, but that actually had a consumable blowout on me there. But this is kind of what I was dealing with. And so I forgot on this piece, but usually what I do is I do a pierce and then I drill, which I would like to do. And this is the back side of it. Like they're not even close to even sort of round. And if you drill this out, A, you go through drill bits because your drill bits doesn't like drilling this. And B, your hole isn't where it should be. This, however, again, all I did was wire wheel this. That came off. This is the backside. So, I mean, that alone makes me very impressed. And if I would have just given this a little bit more clearance for a 3/8 hole, it would have been gold. Anywho, guys, thanks for stopping by. I know I haven't made a videos in a long time, and I'm sorry for that. I will try to get back on that horse. If you're new here, thanks for stopping. Please subscribe, like the video. I appreciate that. That lets me know that I'm doing something okay. We all know that this isn't great production. Or if you just like watching a guy build stuff and fail at stuff, I'm here for you. If you like race cars, building machines, building tools, powder coating. We do a lot of powder coating. A little bit of everything here. We got a project coming up. This guy has slept for 2 years and she needs to come back. And that Oldsmobile needs to be fast. So we're gonna work on that. I also picked this up recently. I don't know if I'm gonna YouTube this. Me and my dad really enjoy working on bikes and stuff like that. It's kind of a me and him thing, so I don't know if that's gonna be a YouTube thing. Maybe I'll give you updates as we go. And also shop. We wanna build another part of the mez up here. I wanna do an office build up there. Whole bunch of stuff. So I mean, I got a lot coming. Just depends on what I actually can find time to film and get out there for you. Or if you guys even care, leave comments down below. Tell me what you guys like to see, or if you see things that I'm doing wrong that I can improve. But be nice, okay? I take it personally. But yeah, let me know what's going on with you guys and let me know what I can do better. Anyways, see you on the next one. See you.